my God.
So I hope you guys don't mind. I was just going to kind of chill and like read the paper quietly to myself. No, I actually brought these in because I guess it should be facing a little more. I started writing for a local weekly paper called Vue Weekly about a month and a half ago, I believe. Is Ted still in the house? Yes, he is. Ted is my co-columnist. We took over for, well, you can ask people like Nick how the old column was. Ted and I don't think we're fans. It was, I personally felt that the old column was just a little bit too shallow and based on really trivial things. And at least personally what I've decided is that I want to do stories that matter to me. Oh, and there's some Tegan and Sarah playing in the background just because I can force you all to listen to Tegan and Sarah right now. Anyway, so what I've been doing so far is kind of doing sort of a jokey opinion piece one week and then the next 2 weeks doing a news story and so on. I was going to read my most recent one, which is actually a piece about lesbian fashion accessories, and I had assigned a point value to each, but a lot of people have already read that one because my mom dropped off some copies. So I'm actually going to read my first article. It's called What a Queer Thing to Ask. As some of you may have noticed, this is not totally gay, and I am not Luke Foster. I'm Tam, for those who are wondering. Alright, I'm Tam, and don't you wish your girlfriend was? And in the interest of
Maybe just a little bit.
Of full disclosure, I'd like to start my run contributing to this column with some confessions. I love rainbows. There's enough Roy Jabib in my house to decorate 23 daycares or half of San Francisco. I happily identify as queer, no other label fits as well, and I am most definitely a big gay activist. My predecessor and I don't really have a lot in common, except, of course, for all that homosexuality. So, here's the thing. I'm getting pretty sick of having to come out all the time. I could sit here and rant about our heteronormative society and the assumption that everyone is straight until proven otherwise, but that seems like something that's rather unlikely to change in my lifetime. I could also complain about how tiresome it is to have to come out again and again. I'm 21, I've been out for 5 years. You'd think I'd have the speech down pat by now, but it's a little different every time. Perhaps I need a name tag or an ID badge that I could just flash. Anyway, what bugs me is the bizarre assumption that when I decide to make my sexual preference known, I've suddenly dragged poor, innocent straight people kicking and screaming into my bedroom. It is as if, by disclosing my sexuality, I become some kind of de facto information booth about lesbianism. I'm not sure why I have to explain this, but sexual orientation does not equal sex life. When I reveal my sexuality publicly, other people suddenly feel that they now have free rein to ask extremely intimate questions. I'm not joking when I say I can't count the times that practical strangers have responded to my "I'm gay" with, "Oh, so how do lesbians have sex anyway?" That is not, to put it mildly, an appropriate response. I'd love to follow it up with, "You're a jerk. How do you have sex anyway?" But my life is not open to some random person's creepy invasiveness because I told them one simple fact about myself. No one, for instance, has ever asked me how people with blue eyes have sex, which is probably for the best. It's pretty kinky, and I don't think you'd want to know about it. But this problem is more than just a simple annoyance. Opponents of gay rights advances love to rebut our fight for equal rights with the statement they don't care what we do behind closed doors, but that we don't have to be putting our dirty sodomy-type habits all out there in the open. Right, because we all know that if I mention my girlfriend at work, I really might as well be doing her right there on the counter. The struggle for partnership benefits, adoption, protection against violence, and miscellaneous social equality really has very little to do with who I may or may not be shacking up with at the end of the day. When I choose to inform someone that I'm not straight, it's because I'm sick of them asking about my boyfriend and dancing around where exactly I volunteer, and because I've gotten tired of using gender non-specific pronouns. Not because I'd like to have them ask about what happens between lady parts. Maybe we should blame the movies. The few examples of sexual lesbian relationships that have made it onto the big screen have nearly all been that strange variety of two girls writhing around while not really touching much on a gauzily draped canopy bed while candles cast a soft glow onto them. I have definitely never owned a bed with one of those veil things. Neither have any of my exes. In all honesty, and it's entirely possible that when my girlfriends saw me coming, they stashed away the canopy and candles for fear of me getting my naked self all tangled up inside the cloth, shrieking and flailing like a maniac. Whereupon I lunge, fabrically cocooned, of course, into the fiery wax, setting the room ablaze. It's funny, but it's true. However, as a gay woman, I am friends with all of my ex's exes, and I'm pretty sure if any of them had dykey medieval European princess-style bedrooms, someone would have mentioned it. It's true that the image of gay girl sex that most have seen isn't particularly realistic. Perhaps that's why they feel the need to clarify me. It's not as if gay men fare any better. If we aren't shown the desexualized, Will Truman-style best friends, we get bizarre mountaintop trysts, sans any sort of lubricatory aid. I'm just saying, I'll be the first to admit I definitely do not know a whole lot about gay male sex, but I do know one thing, and ouch. So maybe it's understandable that intimate questions land upon the laps of those of us that have come out. Many people still operate under the incorrect assumption that they've never really met a real live gay person before and simply can't contain the bubbling forth of queries when they do. I'm not saying it's totally rude to ever think of asking me about the intricacies of sexual intercourse. I'm just saying it would be nice if you at least bought me dinner first.